Okay guys, now we're going to talk about trinomials where your leading coefficient cannot be factored out. Notice 3 does not go into 4, it does not go into 1. We can't factor it out. So we start with a double bubble. But instead of just putting x and x, keep in mind now we have to make that 3 in front of the x squared. So we think of factors that give us 3. So just 3 and 1. And then we still have to factor out this last term here, but instead of thinking what are the factors that add up to 4, keep in mind the factors of 1 are going to combine with the factors of 3 to make the middle. So you just want to double check the middle. 3x plus 1x does make 4x, and obviously since everything's positive, our signs are all going to be positive. And to make sure that it multiplies, or that this is the correct factored version, you could just multiply it back out and make sure it matches the original. I usually, since you're always sticking to factors of 3 and sticking to factors of the n, I usually just check the middle. And you may have to, like in the future problems I'll show you, do a little bit of trial and error. So here's what I'm talking about. Like to make an 8, we have several choices. We have 8 and 1, we have 4 and 2. So not sure which we're going to end up using. So we'll start with 4 and 2. If it works, then we'll go with that, and if it doesn't, we'll use 8 and 1. Okay, factors of 3 are 3 and 1. We will get a different result if we put 3 here and 1 here versus 1 here and 3 here. So what I like to do is write it out in the 2 different combinations. So I'll try this one. If it doesn't work, then I'll try the next one. So if I put a 1 here and a 3 here, I then want to check the middle. Again, everything's positive, so I'm going to go ahead and put plus signs. So let's see, 4x times 3 makes 12x, 1 times 2 makes 2x, and 12x plus 2x makes 14x. So again, you're just trying to check to make sure that the 2 middles are adding up to the 14x. Alright, let's look at one with a negative. Alright. So we have 9x squared minus 3x minus 20. So we're going to try 3 and 3 first. So 3x and 3x. Alright, so factors of 20, we have 5 and 4, 4 and 5, 2 and 10, 10 and 2. So lots of different combinations to try. So let's just go ahead and start with 5 and 4. Okay, so that makes a 12x, and that makes a 15x. This time, instead of these two adding to make the middle, notice there's a subtraction sign here. That means they're going to have to subtract to make the middle. So I want specifically a negative 3. So that means I want my 15x to be negative and my 12x to be positive. Okay, that kind of went a little less painless than maybe some students might experience. Like maybe a different student would have started with 2 and 10 and then had to go through several trials before arriving at the correct answer. So I'm going to show you guys another way of doing this problem to where you get through all your trials and errors a little quicker. Okay, so we would still start with a double bubble, and I might still start with 3x and 3x. But what I would do is I'd actually make this little t-chart where I put my coefficients of x at the top and my coefficients of, the numbers that multiply to make 20 at the bottom. So I'll put my little list, but let's just say I started with 10 and 2, 2 and 10, 5 and 4, 4 and 5, 1 and 20, 20 and 1. Sometimes I don't list them all because, you know, you just kind of want to you don't need to list them all unless you run out of options. So anyway, when you go to do this outer inner and it's getting this numbers here, instead of having to put them in place and get these numbers and all that kind of stuff, you can kind of see what you would get by cross multiplying here. So again, all these numbers represent the factors of 20, and the numbers on top represent the factors of your first number, and you're just going to crisscross to see if you get the right combination that gives you a -3. So if I multiply, I get a 6 and a 30, and I know 30 minus 6 or 6 minus 30 won't give me -3. And 3 times 10 is 30, and 3 times 2 is 6. And again, it's just, you're just checking to see if these numbers give you that -3. So that doesn't work. Okay, so here we get 12, and here we get 15. And so obviously the 15 minus 12 gives me, or I should say -15 plus 12 gives me that -3. So what this does is this corresponds, the numbers in the T-chart corresponds to the numbers that you need in parentheses. So put my 5 here, my 4 here. I know I need a negative on the left, a positive on the right. I'm going to go ahead and post the video of the lady that I learned this trick from. She has a YouTube video. And see if she just explains it just a little bit better than I do. But basically, that's just a way for you to get through all your trials and errors a little quicker.